Okay, we are live. Rajan bhai, should we start the synopsis?
Yeah, you can start.
Samar?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Human mind expects justice from a God with mercy or compassion to be operative in existence, forgetting that it is our struggle and our endeavor for realization. Then why expect God to do our part of the work? And how can it ever give us satisfaction that we have achieved something?
Right. The thing is that in asking for compassion or mercy, we have to see whether it is that, what do you call, part of us which, is doesn't want to do the work but wants to gain something for nothing. Right. And so there we have to see which I is working over there. That I. Junu, no, no. Yeah.
The purpose of existence was to try and see how immensely wonderful the divine fragments were, and whether any type of conditioning of existence could possibly make them forget to take the road back to the source.
Right. So when we were in that divine state, it was a wonderful state, but we needed something to compare it with. Right. And that is the purpose of existence. And then whether in existence we get so identified that we forget to go back to the source.
Divine fragments are great warriors. They do not flinch in the face of any conditionings or odds. And we all are divine fragments existing under a particular conditioning.
Particular conditioning. Okay. Only we have forgotten we are divine fragments. Yeah.
As divine fragments, we have never cried, nor shall we ever. Nor are these divine fragments backing out after having accepted the rules of the game and entered existence willingly. It is the mind that is perplexed and cries out, for we are divine fragments and are witnesses only.
Right. So the divine fragment is only a witness to what has happened, but it has entered into existence willingly, and it has accepted all the rules of the game. And the rules of the game are that you have to work against your own conditionings. Right? The divine fragment is not going to give you any, what do you call, mercy or help. Yeah.
If only existence were to cease to exist in us, then may we be able to cease existing in existence.
Yes. So if for a moment all the conditionings of existence were to dissolve, then in that moment we would be free of existence. Right? So can it happen? Now, if all the conditionings are lying in the mind, and if we can, dissolve the mind in a single moment, then in that moment we are free of existence.
It calls for honesty of purpose and integrity of mind. Give the reins of everything you have in the safe hands of the divine fragment.
Yes, Ishwar Pranidhana. Surrender everything to Ishwar.
Everything is possible with ourselves, the divine fragment. To some, psychic powers seem the ultimate. Some surmount to the pull of gravitation and the fascination of the Mahakal. But one has to reach the universe of Jana, our source and our home, and Tapa, reality manifested, to merge and become one.
Right. So in Bhubhuva Swaha, there are psychic powers. And in Mahakal, there is freedom from gravitation. Right? And but if one remains fascinated anywhere over here, then one will not reach the original home. That is the universe of Jana. Yeah.
In Light on the Path by Mabel Collins, for within you is the light of the world, the only light that can be shed upon the path. If you are unable to perceive it within you, it is useless to look for it elsewhere, in places, in persons, in prayers, in scriptures and shastras.
Yes, so the real light is from the inner guru only. And all the scriptures and shastras and prayers are only ways to unlock the light of the inner guru. So, but they do not shine light on the path. The light of the path is only thrown by the inner guru.
Further, she writes, and though thou fightest, be not thou the personality, the mind, and the body, the warrior. Look for the warrior, the divine fragment, and let him fight in thee. But if thou look not for him, if thou pass him by when the battle rages, then there is no safeguard for thee.
Yeah. So if you, what do you call it? Gujarati, we say, Akhada Khan kar lo, and the battle rages on and you just pass by, then there is no possibility for you. In the end, only one warrior is there, the divine fragment. And we have to surrender the mind and conditioning to that divine fragment. Okay. I think that's it, no?
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Alka, are you there?
Yes, Ketal, I'm here.
Perfect.
At this stage, it is appropriate to quote from the Gita. Lord Krishna says in chapter 2, when thy reason has crossed the entanglements of illusion, then shalt thou become indifferent both to the philosophies thou hast heard and those thou mayest yet hear. When the intellect, bewildered by the multiplicity of holy scripts, stands unperturbed in blissful contemplation of the infinite, the divine fragment, then hast thou attained spirituality.
Yeah, so we need a reason which is free from illusion, right? And again, we have to find a reason which is free from memory. And when it is free from memory, then there is no illusion, then we see reality as it is. Till then, we keep on projecting onto reality. And then we will see that all the philosophies that we have heard, we can be indifferent to them because now we are seeing reality without the help of memory. And to be able to have an intellect which is free of memory, that is called intelligence, right? And to have that intelligence, then what do you call? We suddenly see that we can follow the divine fragment inside and we don't need outside scripts to help us.
We have noted that the way out of existence is by accomplishing Satori, a breakthrough piercing not only existence but also the major ring pass knot.
So Satori is the first glimpse. Satori is the first glimpse. And if in that glimpse, if the mind dissolves in that glimpse, then we, what do you call, are able to experience something beyond the mind. And that is beyond the ring pass knot.
We have as yet not stated what weapons we have with which we shall be able to do so. Before we do so, we shall first study what we are, what is happening within us, and how we operate as body and mind, how we die, and how we take birth again.
Yeah.
My center is universal, my periphery is personal.
Like essence and personality. Yeah.
What can happen to a man whose whole being is made up of desires? If he has no cellular body and does not exist in a cellular world.
So we have a desire body, but to fulfill that desire body, we need a cellular body. It's not possible.
The shock which separates the end from one life from the beginning of the next, which severs the essence, the divine fragment, from the corpse and launches it back into the seed, is the most tremendous which a human being is called upon to face.
The energy
In fact,
of birth and the energy of death. Right.
In fact, it is too strong for ordinary man who has no choice but to forget and falls asleep.
Yes. In that shock, he falls asleep.
Ordinary man has no unbroken consciousness, awareness. That is, consciousness does not accompany him at the moment of so-called death. He cannot know what death is, nor the unification of death. Causes pass from one life to another, unaccompanied by consciousness. If a man has continuous consciousness, death would have a different meaning.
Yes. Yes. So yesterday's talk, we talked about this. Yes. How to have continuous consciousness. Causes pass from one life to another. All our sanskars, they pass from one life to another. And they become the cause for future birth.
They are without consciousness.
Huh?
They are without the accompaniment of consciousness.
Huh.
So we have to take birth upon birth.
Those who forget when they leave the physical bodies and because they cannot yet bring back to the physical brain conscious recollections of that passing out and of the subsequent interval of active living, they fail to relate death to sleep.
So we have to, construct something beyond the physical brain, because the physical brain is going to die. And today, all our experiences are dependent upon the use of the physical brain. So we have to make something which is beyond the physical brain. And as the physical brain dies, that thing is active, and that allows us to experience in that dimension of the beyond.
Death literally
And-
is the withdrawal.
Sorry, I'll come on. Could you please elaborate on that, Rajan bhai? What could this thing be? What could this thing be that has to be developed?
So I've talked about it so many times. One of the things we can develop is the dream body, right? So the dream body does not die with death. And so whatever we want to train it, we train it before death. And so after death, it, helps us in our further journey. So that is one of the things we could do.
Thank you.
Death literally is the withdrawal from the heart and the head of these two streams of energy, producing, consequently, loss of consciousness and disintegration of the body. If we wish to learn in what condition one will be when one has to quit the body,
Two streams of energy. Which streams of energy is it talking about?
two streams of energy, head and heart.
Head and heart, intellectual energy and emotional energy is he talking?
So previously, I'm not sure if we've already covered this in this English reading, but he mentions about the withdrawal of the energy of life and energy of awareness from the body. He's mentioned that during sleep and during death, the primary body, which makes the energy of awareness and energy of life, it goes, that field separates from the physical body, and these two energies then slowly withdraw from the physical body.
Mhm.
In the
So is he talking about life and awareness, or is he talking about intellectual energy and emotional energy?
Do we want to scroll up a little bit?
Huh?
Oh, it's not related, Alka. It's not related.
No, there's no. He's just giving statements over here. He's just
It is somebody else's statement, maybe.
loss of consciousness and disintegration of the body. It looks like what you're saying is right. Life and awareness.
Energy of life and energy
It looks
of
like what you're
awareness.
saying is life and awareness.
If we wish to learn in what condition one will be when one has quit the body, observe in what condition it is while one is joined with the body.
Right. So what will be the condition after, if the whole day I'm complaining about something, that will be the same condition after I quit the body, right? So all those conditionings will go with me.
Preparation for states after death and before birth exactly implies that we attempt to think, and we do dimly begin to understand that with human individuality attached to a molecular or electronic body, such a body would enjoy all kinds of power, properties, and possibilities, which, from the point of view of cellular bodies, are inconceivable and miraculous.
So if we are preparing for something after death, right? So then first thing we realize that we don't have a cellular body after that. So we are going to use a molecular body. Definitely, we are not trained to use the electronic body. So we have to train ourselves to use a molecular body after death. And then once we have trained ourselves, then we are able to what you call work in those states after death. But if there's no training in using the molecular body, then there's no way we can work in those states after death. Hmm? And that is why dream yoga becomes very important, because there we are working with a molecular kind of body in the dream over there. Hmm.
The art of dying should be a triumphant finale of life, a glorious prelude to a conscious exit.
Hmm.
A new attitude to death is to be cultivated, a science of death to be inaugurated.
Right, right.
Nothing can live eternally, but that which hath lived from all eternity.
Right.
These quotations are given here because many minds have given serious thought to the subject of birth and death. It is not enough to just take conjecture.
Hmm.
There are practices of higher yoga which, when carried out, make the subject clear and understandable.
Hmm.
We shall come to the details later.
So those are the quotations from other sources.
Yeah, these are all quotations from other
Other
sources which he
sources.
has taken here. Hmm. Right. Okay. Right.
The question of what happens after death leads to the question as to what takes place before birth, and whether there is some process involved, governed by some method or law, and also whether there is a relationship between different processes concerning these two vital events of birth and death.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We call these two vital events intervals in a person's awareness.
Hmm.
inasmuch as a total change is brought about accompanied by a complete break in awareness,
Hmm.
like the minor interval of sleep.
Hmm. Hmm.
The changes at these intervals are from electronic to molecular / cellular at birth, and from cellular molecular to electronic at death.
Again, we just go through it. Oh.
We call these two vital events intervals in a person's awareness,
Hmm.
inasmuch as a total change is brought about, accompanied by a complete break in awareness,
Hmm.
like the minor interval of sleep.
Hmm. So he's comparing birth and death and birth again to the minor interval of sleep. Right. Hmm.
The changes at these intervals are from electronic to molecular / cellular at birth, and from cellular molecular to electronic at death.
Hmm. Right. So at death, it actually should be this way: cellular, electronic, molecular. Right? And at birth, it should be molecular, cellular, electronic. I think it should be that way. Anyway, he has written, we'll just take it the way he has written, but this is the way it should be actually.
એટલે ઇલેક્ટ્રોનિક વર્લ્ડમાંથી સેલ્યુલર મોલેક્યુલર વર્લ્ડમાં બર્થ વખતે આવે છે અને ડેથ થાય છે ત્યારે ફિઝિકલમાંથી ઇલેક્ટ્રિકમાં વહી જાય એમ છે
No, no.
કોલિંગમાંથી લીધેલું છે કોલિંગના રેફરન્સથી લીધેલું છે.
Yeah, but say
So he's using molecular, cellular in one compartment.
no, no. Say we take birth, right? So at 7th month, the molecular body is made, right? That molecular body at the 9th month takes a cellular body. And at the time of the birth, the electronic enters through the divine fragment. So it should be molecular, cellular, electronic. And at the time of death, right, it is cellular straight to electronic molecular. It has to be this way, no? If he has taken this from Collins, then Collins is wrong.
બરાબર લાગે છે.
How?
I think it's
At the time of death,
See, let's start with birth. At birth.
at birth.
This one, at birth. Right? So he's saying at birth, electronic, molecular, cellular.
so when he's
The electronic is the Swahalok. So the divine fragment is in the Swahalok. Right? So that is electronic. Right? So at the point of the, what do you call, mother and father meeting, the master cell, two things are being formed, cellular and molecular. The molecular is ready at 7th month. The cellular is ready at 9th month. Right? And the electronic enters at birth. So it should be molecular, cellular, electronic.
Electronic to molecular cellular.
so basically
That's
electronic
physical.
is the raw form and molecular and cellular are the consolidated form, which in apparent
there is-
form enters
electronic-
after the
Hold on,
molecular
one
and
by one.
cellular.
Huh?
Here I think Rajan bhai, maybe the
I
order
can't
is
hear
as
you.
you say, as you are saying. Here maybe what he could mean is that he is considering us as the electronic body or the divine fragment encased in the universe. And that's why he may be saying that at
But
birth,
can't you understand one thing? He's now
Yes.
talking at the process of birth.
yes, yes,
Now, at the process of birth, there is no electronic because that guy is sitting up there.
up there.
Right? So there is no electronic. So
Yes.
once the mother and father meet, right? What is formed is Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, and molecular, parasympathetic, sympathetic, and cellular.
Yes, yes,
Right?
yes,
So
yes,
it is molecular, cellular till the 9th month.
Yes.
And then electronic comes in at the time of birth.
Yes. Yes.
That is why the child cries, because of the electronic spark.
Yes.
Yes.
So it should be this way, no? Molecular, cellular, electronic.
Yes. If we take it from the perspective of us being the molecular or cellular body, but if we take it from the perspective of us being the electronic body,
And he's
then, or us being the divine fragment, then we are electronic before birth, and then we, as the divine fragment, get into molecular cellular at birth. So which perspective I think we are taking, that could be the...
These are the two intervals where electronics turns into the molecular cellular, enters, and electronic leaves the cellular molecular. These are the two intervals.
Okay, we'll take it that way. I don't know. Huh? We'll take it that way.
Moreover, he has cleared all this in the next chapter, the conscious death and conscious birth. He has given everything in detail in that chapter. So
Okay.
it will be covered there.
Okay.
No, but I
Some
think,
more
Rajen,
related.
the order that you said, right? I think that's the order in which the things happen
I'm
from
talking
our
of order of
perspective.
process.
That
Yes,
is
yes, yes,
right.
exactly,
Ah.
exactly.
Your order of process is right.
But he's more broadly speaking that we become from electronic forms to molecular and cellular once we are in body.
But
He's very broadly speaking.
the electronic enters at the time of birth. So if you talk in chronological order, it is molecular, cellular,
Yes.
electronic.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Right? At the time of death, it is cellular to electronic to molecular.
The molecule. And that is because you're saying that we first go up, experience Swaha, and then we are in the
Yes.
dream
Go
world,
into
which is Bhuva.
Molecular.
physical world.
Yes, the
Yes.
molecule.
See, because if he has taken this from Collins, then Collins has just copied it from somewhere. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Got it.
But this
Some
is
more
not.
related.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Some more related questions come to mind. Can death be conscious? Can birth be conscious? If both death and birth can be conscious, then and we'll have to scroll down.
Somebody will have to scroll.
Bhavya?
Some more related questions come to mind. Can death be conscious? Can birth be conscious? If both death and birth can be conscious, then we have one unbroken consciousness, one unbroken continuation of life, only changing our used, tired, worn out, exhausted body for a whole new one.
Yeah. Okay.
In that
This
case,
is the famous, what do you call that dialogue? It is like changing clothes, right? Yeah. So that.
in that case, are we not immortal? Man is mortal because his awareness comes to an end and he knows not what happens then. Similarly, he knows not where he has come from because of lapse of memory or awareness.
There's nothing recorded. So there's no memory. So there's a blank space in memory. So either we need awareness or we need memory. One of the two things. Something has to be there. So then we can play the playback button and okay, what happened in that in-between period.
This is the master key which existence has over our bodies, minds, senses, and awareness.
Right. So it has two master keys, awareness and memory. Over our bodies, minds, senses, and awareness. Right.
If we can defeat existence in thus making us helpless, We
Right.
have existence itself in our grip.
So if we have something which can record the in-between process, or we have something which does not break, like the awareness, what do you call, the string of awareness does not break in that in-between process, then we have defeated existence, right?
If awareness does not come to an end, we have a person who is truly awake and conscious.
Right.
The word conscious is misused. From our earlier statements, you will gather that only divine fragments are conscious, pure consciousness, and that the body, mind, and senses, however wonderful they may appear, even in Swaha universe, have awareness only.
Yes.
A clear definition.
This is his
Even
clear
very clear
definition of consciousness and awareness.
awareness.
We don't want to go into that just now. We'll use the words interchangeably just now. Yeah. Right.
Tavaria?
Bhavya, your girlfriend is phoning you or what?
No, there is no such thing.
Awareness has one great weakness. It has no continuity. Whilst
Because you cannot hold awareness all the time. You have to at some time let yourself drop, right? But consciousness is something totally different. There is no, what do you call, effort to hold the conscious state because you're already structured in consciousness.
whilst consciousness has no break. This is the vital difference. Consciousness is of the divine fragments, so they are immortal. Awareness is an energy produced within the body, whether physical, astral, or mental. This generation of energy is profuse in the beginning of life and slowly dries up, whilst consciousness is part of, a fragment of, the unique original force field, divine wholeness, and its most minute fragment or unit is immortal, self-generating endlessly.
Yeah. So awareness is of existence and consciousness is of beyond existence. Creation, yeah. Right. And in creation, even the small unit, which is called the divine fragment, is self-generating and endless. Yeah.
Since there is a change of state at two intervals, such changes in matter, either from gross to subtle or from subtle to gross, brings about changes in speed commensurate with the matter composing it. Either from slow to fast to express or from express fast to slow.
Yeah, so it is from electronic to molecular. So
reference of the paragraph.
The great electronic speed at conception is then in molecular time and drops down to cellular time.
Yeah.
Which can be observed from conception to birth, from birth to 3 years, 30 months later, of the age of the child, during which period growth and changes are visible. So the speed. And from 3 years to 7 years of age, when growth is still visible, but is not as much in the period between birth and 3 years.
Yeah. So what he's saying at the moment of conception, right? Time is moving fastest. And from there, just as the, the key of a, what do you call, the key of a toy unwinds, and as we reach 70 years, the unwinding is now very slow. So at the moment of our conception in the mother's womb, the key was moving fastest. And at the moment of death, the key is moving slowly. So, and this is what he means by the passage from electronic to molecular to cellular to what you call just psychological time, right?
From ages 7 up to 18 years, growth is still visible, but appreciably slower, and may continue very slowly up to the age of 25 years.
Right.
In each succeeding period, the rate of growth slows down. Thereafter, there is hardly any growth, only some surface changes,
Yeah.
and then gradual wearing
Black
down.
hair becomes gray. That's a good surface change.
Then gradual wearing down to middle age, to
Flexes.
old age,
Right.
and to death.
Yeah,
When
the
every
reflexes
dream-
slow down. If you had seen in Tendulkar's last years, all his reflexes had slowed down. He should have retired much earlier, right? So,
When everything is completely over.
where everything is
Why?
completely over, right?
At the death.
Old age and to death.
You see, at these 2 points, at birth and the point of death, electronic, molecular, and cellular, they overlap at one point. So if there were 3 circles, electronic time is say 1 hour, and molecular time is 55 days, and what do you call
Cellular time.
cellular
70
time
years.
is 70 years or 80 years, whatever. Then at these 2 intervals, all 3 they interlapped at one point. At the point of conception, all 3 times are what you call
Intermingle.
intermingling with each other. Each circle is what you call touching, and at the point of death, all the 3 circles are meeting together, and that is why these 2 points become very, very important. Very important.
Why? Because the internal mechanism slows down and the two vital energies, the energy of essence of life and awareness, and the energy of essence of consciousness, which are generated within the primary body and passed on to the secondary body, are produced much less abundantly as the days pass and ultimately cease together altogether.
Right.
So, this brings an old age and death. Metabolism and catabolism are two terms which, translated in context to our subject, mean that there is certain production of vital energies in our body and there is a certain continuous drain of these vital energies.
Yeah.
In the early stages, the production is more than the drain, and from middle age onward, the drain is much more than the production. To put this thus in a layman's language.
Yep.
This daily drain causes fatigue and brings on sleep, which to a certain extent nourishes the system. For during good sleep, the drain is appreciably less.
Yeah, because
and
we're not
production.
thinking. Yeah.
Yes, this is the key.
Are chattering inside. That's why there's no rain. Right.
And production being constant builds up reserves, but is not enough. This
You
daily
might take
drain
a tonic, in your old age, yeah, to see that the production.
To maintain the metabolism.
Maintain the production. maintain the product. You take Chyawanprash or something.
Chavan Muni did it.
Right, Chavan Rishi became young again. Yeah, so who knows? Hmm.
This daily drain, a daily deficit, coupled with a vital loss in production, brings about weakness, diseases, and old age, and ultimately adds up and ends in so called death.
Nice word, so-called death. Yeah, right. So what he's saying, it's not death, it is just the,
Interval.
what do you call, now the drain has become so much. There is no way to maintain the body-brain system. Hmm. So everybody
The
started
individ-
Chyawanprash, right?
The individual, therefore, faces three different speeds or dimensions of time.
Yes, you have talked about it.
One at conception, other at birth, and third at so-called death.
Yes, so he's
That
calling
is,
death electronic, right? Conception molecular and birth cellular. Hmm. Hmm. So he's given more importance to death. Hmm. Hmm. Right.
to get some idea of the difference in speeds. We'll just finish this paragraph.
Yeah, yeah.
To get some idea of the difference in speeds,
Hmm.
a period of 78 cellular or Earth years of time, a typical present-day human lifespan, is equivalent to 26 days of molecular life or time.
Yeah. I mean,
And
these
to
are
merely
what you call debatable times, but we can say approximately, yeah.
He shows the scale.
Hmm. Hmm.
and to merely 34 minutes of electronic time.
Right.
The constant ratio between them is roughly 1100.
Hmm.
The brain of an ordinary person, therefore, is not able to grasp what happens at these intervals and so becomes unconscious and unaware because these speeds are far too great for the individual to register
Yeah. So we
without the
need
help.
another brain, which is there. We have the brain, but we have to activate that brain and make it active. Yeah. Right. Hmm.
Individual to register without the help of certain practices carried out under a guide during the period when one is alive.
Hmm. Okay. Right.
So
So we'll-
next paragraph is actually the last paragraph of the chapter.
Okay.
What?
This
The
is the
last
the
paragraph.
last paragraph of the chapter.
You want to finish it?
Whatever you suggest.
The cellular
Okay.
body.
Made up of.
You better
A
hang on.
cellular. Okay.
Better
So
hang
we'll
on.
take this.
Right. Let's hang on to this one. Right. Okay.
થોડુંક શેષ રાખ્યો.
See, Bhavya is becoming intelligent. Okay. But the important part is that these three circles meet at these 2 points, birth and death. And so we are in all three times simultaneously at those two moments. We are in these all three times simultaneously. And that is what we have to work for. We have to create an instrument which can work in those times, right? Which can remain, I won't use the word conscious, which can remain aware in those times. That is those 2 points in time, right? That is very important, right?
જીવની ક્વોલિટી એવી બનાવવી કે જે આ જગ્યાએ હાજર હોય.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you so
We
much,
meet
Rajen
next
sir.
week. We meet next week. Right. Okay.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
See you
Bye.
next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Rajan bhai. Good day, all of you.
Yes. Hey, Bhavya, you have to send me that second episode.
Yeah, I think the third. Second is already sent, but you haven't opened for a long time.
Okay.
Okay. Chalo.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.